The designer here is creating a path system using polylines. So here's a polyline, and it's a polyline with a fill and a crossover through there. And now if I select what I thought was a polyline, it's not in fact being completed. We want to make a closed polyline through here, just as we have in the original one. If you look in here, it's a polyline, it's filled, yes, has a border, yes, and it's closed. So that's how we get the color and texture of the line. So we want to make the path a complete closed polyline so that we can fill it. In order to do that, I've been able to join a whole series of line segments together, and I'm at the point of joining this particular line segment here. Notice if I zoom in here how the endpoints overlap. Now it's not possible to join those. We can attempt it. I've selected it, so I want to make a polyline around that area there, and if I say join, then you see that although this polyline has moved to my current layer, which is called L path, this second polyline segment, or was it an arc? No, it was a polyline, did not join. And the reason it didn't join, we've alluded to before. If we pick both of these, then you see the endpoints are not congruent. So we need to move the endpoint of this one, so I can pick it, and we need to move it to the endpoint of the other one. Now, if I pick those two polylines, they now have the same endpoint, beginning point, and I can now join them together. So we're moving along in our task of making a closed polyline through here in order to be able to fill it. Well, as I move along, I find more drafting errors. We pick this one here and pick the vertical line there. Can you see these two don't meet? So we need to pick that one up, make that handle hot, and then move it to the end point here. Once we do that, we can pick that particular polyline, the one that we're growing, and now we can join that one onto it. If I come in here, I'm not particularly happy with this join, but I think we can fix that up later when we apply some curve fitting. So I should be able to pick that and even this one and join them. So in doing that, our polyline is certainly developing and we're moving along. Well, we've been working our way along and joining segments onto the ever-growing polyline, and we've reached quite literally a fork in the road. If I pick this segment through here, you can see there are hundreds and hundreds of vertices that have been added. Now that's either come by cutting a spline or exploding a polyline twice, and we clearly need to deal with it. Let me illustrate by drawing a polyline here, and I'll just run through here like so. That's rather faint, so I'll change its color back to by layer, and I'll move it on to layer 0 so that you can see it more easily. There's a polyline. We've got some lovely curve fitting options, so we can turn that into a B-spline. That enables us to bend things out like so. We can add vertices to give us more control if we want. So polylines work particularly well where you've got a fluid and organic shaped path as we have here. If you pick a polyline and explode it and pick it again, can you see what happens? You break it up into those hundreds of segments. So we clearly don't want to do that. We want a polyline there, so we want to put a new polyline in the path, and we want to rub out this particular one here. So that's the next stage of the operation. We need to change this and put it into a new form. I have exactly the same problem here on the internal part here. Here's another one of these exploded polylines, and I'm working my way around the internal zone in here. May well be a grassed area. The easiest way, since the geometry is already there, the easiest way is to improve your drafting is go to Object Snap Settings, turn it on and pick Nearest. That means that I can go Draw and Polyline. I can start by an override and pick up the end of that section, and now because I have Nearest on, I can just trace my way around the existing shape. That will save considerable time. Once that's done, you can zoom in and pick, sometimes with a degree of difficulty, pick the original polyline which has been exploded, and then we'll match the properties of the new one. I'll just take those snap off now, match the properties of this one to that one there. Whoops, match properties, pick up that one and set property 2. So there we are. We've now got polylines through here, and we should be able to, we'll need to take off that, turn it back into lines and arcs, and now we should be able to join everything together. And there we are. Now if we wanted to, we could apply a fill. So we've pretty much achieved our aim. We've created a closed polyline over the entire sort of natural pathway through this development, and once that's completed, it's just a matter of setting the properties of the new one, which you'll notice at the moment is not yet closed and not filled, to the properties of the successful one at the top here, which is closed, filled, and has a border. So there's some drafting to go, taking care that each start and end point of adjacent polylines are correctly placed. There's just tedious drafting work to do.